All right, welcome back. In today's video, we're gonna touch on the 5 stars. Now, the 5 stars are a little bit better than the 4 stars in the sense that almost everybody it's worth building, but no, not really. But when it comes to building, what do I mean? We'll touch that in with every character that we treat. First of all, let's start with the omega good ones, the crazy ones you need to build as soon as possible, and sometimes they're even better than the 6 stars at certain portrait. I'm talking about Charlie. Charlie is our little mage that is extremely powerful, especially after P3, and we're gonna check that immediately. So she is worth building. At the moment you see her on the banner, you're already building her on the banner, even if you didn't pull yet. She's so strong. So she has mass attack ult, 300% mental damage at P0, dispels everything from the fucking monsters, right? And then one target attack, 180% mental damage if they have status up or post status, 40% more mental damage if the caster is in. So if Charlie is buffed, she deals 40%, 60, and 100% more mental damage. And then we have the Tempest 2D, which is another one target attack, 180% mental damage. If the caster is below HP is below 50, she deals 60, 90, 55, 150 percent more mental damage extra on top of the 450, which is really crazy. It's like 600%. Now, the insight: when the caster starts a round with HP below 50, damage taken -20, critical defense plus 20% for one round, attack plus 5, and when the caster starts a round with above 50%, then she deals 20% more damage for one round. That's okay, but the multiplier here, the multiplier that you get from pulling her, they're pretty high. So standalone in the stage is 350% mental damage, which is 50% more on the ult. Then we get 60, 90, 50 additional on the Thunder 2D, which is this. So it's going to be very, very high DPS. And then we get, on the same one, additionally deals mental damage when the caster HP is below 80%. I don't know what's the percentage here. I don't know if Bridwin forgot to add it. Probably not. I don't know. We'll see. So, but it's really high. I would check it on the Chinese one, but it's in Chinese, so I don't really know. Actually, maybe we can peep it. Any Charlies? Charlie. She's P3, so yeah. No, it doesn't say it. It says 80% HP. So, additionally deals mental damage when the caster HP is below 80%. Oh, okay. So, that means that if she's buffed, she does 40% more, 60, 100. But ignore this part. She deals 180 mental damage, but actually, I'll ignore this part. If you have P3, she doesn't even have to be buffed to deal 40%, 60, 100. That's what it means, I believe, by reading it. And then there's just more mental damage on the ult. So Charlie is a very powerful star DPS that you can pick up probably for free, right? Even as a free to play, if you pull on the Sotheby banner, for example, or she could appear anywhere, right? If you pull that, then you're going to have her easily, right? Try to get to P3, otherwise P3 Charlie is stronger than P0 Lilia. Imagine that. So if you don't want Lilia, or you don't get Lilia, or you didn't get Lilia on release on the banner, so and you have Charlie, just do Charlie instead, right? If you can get her to P3. Now let's get with the order. Baby Blue. Baby Blue is a really powerful debuffer, so I would invest in her immediately, to be honest. I don't really give a fuck if she's not S, to be honest, if they say there is no S. She's really strong. She applies Nightmare if they're debuffed, and it's gonna be easy to pair her with debuffers, or just use her kit because she debuffs everybody constantly. She does mental damage, mental defense minus 25, damage taken plus 15, damage minus 15 for all enemies. She weakens the enemies and she makes them take more damage for 2 rounds. 2 rounds, even on level 1, which is really nice because it's 2 rounds, it lasts for 2 rounds, so you're gonna be able to do mechanics and setups in 2 rounds. So that said, after that we have the nightmare. Basically, if you don't know what nightmare is, on the nightmare basically means that they cannot act. They can't do anything, not even the ult. So that's really important. I don't know if it works on bosses. I believe it does on certain bosses, maybe not all of them, right? So I don't know. And the insight add really nice. When the caster takes mental damage, damage take is minus 20 and critical defense plus 20. She needs to take it once though. Then she triggers this. When the caster takes mental damage, gives the attacker 1 stack of Wonderland Visitor for 2 rounds. Wonderland Visitor is damage bonus minus 10. So she automatically debuffs the enemy by 10% and can stack. Each stack is 10% independently. Yeah, so it can stack as well. So if the enemy attacks Baby Blue with three attacks, right? She gets 3 stacks. She gives 3 stacks. So that's crazy, right? So she's pretty good. Going back, Balloon Party is my new favorite unit in the game. She's adorable and she's really strong. She gives something cool called counter, which is merged inside the HP card. So you get the HP a little bit higher than the level 1, and you get 1 party balloon. The party balloon is basically a Genesis damage counter to the attacker. Once on counter 2 and 2 on counter 3, which is 2 rounds, basically 2 stacks of party balloon, which is really good. And party balloon is a counter. Do not underestimate the counter, because the counter can work within the same instance of attacks. So if the boss is attacking your team and he does an AoE and he hits all of 3 of your units with all of 3 counters, he gets 3 damages back according to the percentage, right? Balloon Party reality def. So in this case is defense reality, the exact amount of her defense reality. So if you want to boost her counter, just increase her reality defense, right? You're not gonna do that because you wanna put a healing a healing Psycube on her instead of a fucking reality defense, right? So, but maybe you can fine tune it on the resonate, on the resonate. Like if you do the resonate and you fine tune it to get more reality defense, then maybe that's a play, I think. But yeah, so Insight 1, when the round starts, gets 1 party balloon, triggers up to 3 times. So for the next 3 turns, she's gonna get 1 counter on herself. Now, this bang balloons on the Insight 3. Mine currently is Insight 2 on my emulator, on my Chinese version. The party balloon acquired when a round becomes permanent. So she's gonna get a balloon, then another balloon, and then another balloon, and she's gonna have 3 permanent stacks of counter on her. So you can forget about her when it comes to like counter uptime and just focus on giving other characters balloons. Now, Balloon of Innocence is a damage taken reduction, and when the caster they get back some HP. HP plus lost HP times 20%. So the 20% of the HP lost gets given back to you, but it's not the same amount because it's applied after damage taken reduction. So you're gonna take less HP, less damage, and you're gonna heal 20% of that damage, which is already mitigated, right? So 1 stack after the trigger. So by doing just your attack, you do penetration rate plus 50% plus party balloon or balloon of innocence. If she has that, if Balloon Party has that, she has penetration. So or Party Balloon or Balloon of Innocence. Now, the Balloon of Innocence is applied on the ult. Mass attack, deal 20% damage, reality damage to all enemies. It's kind of low, but it doesn't matter. Gives one Balloon of Innocence and one Party Balloon to all allies. Plus, HP lost HP times 10% for the ally with the lowest HP percentage. It's not that high. It will help later on in endgame. It will help a little bit, so it's extra healing here and there. So she's really powerful. She also gives the Balloon of Innocence, which is what we already read, and the Party Balloon to all allies. So she re-enables the counter. She gives one more stack if everybody already has it, and heals a little bit and deals some damage. So that's really good. So Balloon Party is an immediate. Personally, I'm actually re-rolling to get Balloon Party and Charlie on the beginner's banner when I'm rolling for Eternity, because I want to get Eternity. I'm gonna get Eternity, and I'm gonna try and be lucky and get, for the 5 stars that I get within the 10 pool that I get Eternity on. I'm trying to get at least Balloon Party, because having Balloon Party early, it's really good, because I would argue that Balloon Party is stronger than Dicke. Like even if Dicke is good and you get her on the 8th day of login, I feel like Balloon Party has way more sustain. Well, not healing sustain, but she has a way more impactful presence with the counters, the damage mitigation, the penetration if she has any balloons, which is always all the time. At I3, she gets a permanent balloons applications on herself. So wait, actually, let me reread it. I have a concern. Party Balloon acquired when a round becomes permanent. Now, does this means only for her? I'm assuming that it's only for her, because acquired. Otherwise, it would say the Party Balloon application becomes permanent. That would be fucking crazy. That's why that would make her a 6-star. I feel like, because if they're not attacking for some reason, right? If they're not attacking, if you're like putting Nightmare here and there and they just not attacking you. Or maybe they're attacking only one guy and the other guy never gets attacked for like three rounds. They're gonna have like what the fucking 7 balloons. So yeah. Moving on, another powerful, really good unit is Beacon Bloom. I feel like I kind of need to speed up a little bit. Beacon Bloom, it's a very powerful unit. She only falls off if you're fighting against mental with reality strong. Enemies, she's gonna fall off a little bit, but she's still good anyway. You're just gonna miss the reality death minus 15%, 20-25. You're still gonna get the damage taken, which is global, but you're gonna miss a little bit you're gonna miss on this. You know, this is not gonna make that much of a difference. It's gonna help a little bit. It's not completely destroyed. It's gonna help a little bit, but if an enemy has A+ reality defense and C mental defense, you want to go fight him with the mental team, and if you don't have any other option, you need to bring Beacon Bloom, and Beacon Bloom is still going to apply the reality death, but it's not used because you're not dealing reality damage potentially. Only her is dealing reality damage, so it's going to help a little bit with her damage. But if the enemy has a really big reality defense, then minus 25 on a team that is not reliant on reality damage, because you're going there with the mental one if you have it, then it's going to be a little less impactful, but still helps, still works. It's not like it's not working, right? And plus the damage taken is plus 25 on the debuff card. On this card, the Watcher's Leaves, it's a mass attack. It's decent damage, okay damage. But if the target has a debuff, this attack deals 30% more reality damage. So you want to do this, the zap. It's gonna look like a zap. You do the zap after the debuff if you have those 2 cards and you wanna set it up. Otherwise, you don't have to do damage with Beacon Bloom. You can just use this and then you do the damage part with the damage dealer, right? So, but if you don't have any other choice, if you don't have the cards you don't have cards for the DPS, then you should do this, right? The ult is really good because it's a seal. It's not a daze. That would be crazy. If there was a daze. It's a seal, which means they cannot use ultimate. So if you can hold it until they have the ult, you can do it. Otherwise, if they're immune, just reduces 2 Moxies on the target instead, which is good. Because if it was 1 Moxie, the boss would immediately regain it the next turn. You don't have the ult anymore at that point. So having Moxie -2 gives you a little bit more time to either finish him off or negate him again with another character if you have Daze somewhere else. Let's say you're playing Medpoc and you have their ult again as well. They can go Daze, and now he can't even do anymore, and now you get more time. You have more time before it didn't do the fucking ult for 3 turns. So big reality damage, inflict seal for 2 rounds. The target is immune. If the target is immune to seal, Moxie -2. That's so. Beacon Bloom is extremely strong, so you can bring her up to extreme endgame. It doesn't matter. Just get her to inside 3. She gets like a lot of power ups on the inside. When the enemy is in debuffs, damage dealt +20 to the enemy. When the caster is attacked by an enemy with debuffs, you take less damage. So attack +5. Like the middle inside is always the silly one. Let's move on. Blarney is okay. Blarney is okay. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. Blarney is okay. This character. She's crit reliant, so she's gonna do more damage with crit. So you need to enable her with critical, and she comes in 1.2. So you might be able to do that because Tooth Fairy comes with the same banner as her. So if you are picking up Tooth Fairy, and you should, if you know what Tooth Fairy does, you're gonna dump every one of your pool in their banner, because like Tooth Fairy is the most cracked healer in the game. So, and she also enables the crit reliant characters like Lilia and Blarney. So if you want to use Lilia, you need to pick up Tooth Fairy. It's not even a question. So Blarney works a little bit better if you have Tooth Fairy, but like, yeah, I mean, if you have Charlie, use Charlie instead. If you have, what's another DPS? Lilia, use Lilia instead. If you have Regulus, use Regulus instead. So that's why Blarney is B. She's not bad, but the thing is that you need to, like, if you don't have anyone else, you can use Blarney. But on 1.2, how do you not have at least Charlie, right? Okay, you don't have Regulus. If you didn't pick up Regulus, if you didn't pick up Lilia like me, but at least Charlie, right? You need Charlie. Otherwise, you can use Blarney, but Charlie is way stronger. So I would personally use my pulls on and try to get Charlie and maybe reroll a little bit. Try to get Charlie and Balloon Party on the first, and then maybe do a little bit of Sotheby pulls and try to get Charlie as well, because that's a rate up there. It's gonna be good. Now, Click is okay, but personally, I don't give a fuck what he does. I actually don't. Okay, Spirit is good, but nah. Diggers is really good. Diggers has it's like Beacon Bloom, so it's really good. He has Nightmare on his ult. If the enemy is inflicted with negative stuff, it lasts for 2 rounds, which is pretty big, and double the round Nightmare is pretty crazy. But the Nightmare cannot act, but it dispels the moment you attack, so you could use the downtime to set up, move cards around, get free Moxie, even if like buff yourself, get some shield, move cards around, get Moxie, and even if you just move cards around, you don't have to act in a round. You can just move cards around and you'll gain Moxie. So do that. And then debuff deals 20% mental damage, inflicts 1 stack of weakness, which is a damage bonus -25 for the enemy, -25, which is big. And then another debuff, mass debuff, reality and mental death. So this guy is a pretty good unit to level up if you don't have Bighorn Bloom, let's say, or if you want to have a more optimal. I would argue that Diggers is equally as good as Bighorn Bloom, to be honest. If not a little bit stronger. Because like he also gets a shield equal to 33% of the maximum health. I mean, they all have their own usages, so you could use Bighorn Bloom instead, it's fine. But this guy is more universal. I feel like the only difference is that Yes, he has reality and mental defense on enemies minus 15% for 2 rounds and inflicts fear, which is Moxie minus 1. But Beacon Bloom is more. It's like it gives a damage up, which is a little bit stronger, I feel like. Especially if you're fighting reality weak enemies, you can do that. Minus 15 is fine, it doesn't increase, but you do fear, which is Moxie minus 1 at the end of the round, which that's kind of cracked. You're gonna mass debuff everyone with fear minus 1 for 2 rounds if it's 3 level? That's kind of cracked, guys. I don't know what to say. That's pretty big. No, they're not gonna be able to do shit because you always have it's in some fights you can also use the tuning to refresh the cards and maybe get another one, right? Yes, it has to be level 2 to apply fear, but it's a minus 1 moxie on the enemy, on every enemy, plus mental and reality and mental defense minus 15%. The only thing is that Beacon Bloom gives plus 20, 15, 20, 25% taken, and the reality def is more juicy. Besides that, Diggers, I feel like it's extremely strong. So personally, if I get him, when does he come from? Is 1.1? Oh shit. Oh, I think it comes with Pickle, right? It comes with Pickle. Shit. Well, rip. I don't think I'm gonna get him. Maybe I'll get him in the future, but no, I'm not gonna pull on the 1.1 at all. I'm gonna skip everything. I'm gonna skip everything and wait for 1.2. Now, Diggers. Dick is a good healer. She just plains heal. And she also has some Dispel on herself and immunity on the ult. Deals decent amount of damage. Also Genesis damage that goes beyond. It's true damage basically. It goes beyond the reality, so it's gonna get 100% of your attack is gonna be extra, and the ult is gonna deal the Genesis damage. Immune to debuffs, healing mass HP, and if everybody's below 50, it heals for a little bit more. Yeah, she gets a higher attack when the caster HP percentage is higher than the target. So if you have 80% of your HP and the boss has like 70%, according to the HP pool, like percentage wise, you have 15% more attack. Classic attack plus 5 plus with some lich rate if the HP is lower. So you're gonna get a full kit on this. You're gonna get lich rate if you're lower, attack plus if you're higher. But it's plain. It's a plain character in the sense that it doesn't do crazy shit. It just does what she needs to do. Boom, 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 heal, boom, 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 some attack, boom, 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 ult, dispel everything on yourself, immunity, boom. All right, so that's it's worth investing. Personally, I wouldn't invest too much because like I would invest in Balloon Party instead if you need to invest on a healer, or Sotheby, because Sotheby works very well with Changeling. So yeah, but that's another character, that's another unit. Horrorpedia is okay. It's a DPS. It doesn't do crazy shit. I mean, he inflicts fear to all enemies again on the ult. He has Dispel, and he has, if the target doesn't have any buff, which combines with his Dispel, it deals more damage. And yeah, so, and also when the caster uses this, a level 2 or higher, which is Dispel, which is the Dispel spell. Dispel also dispels counter, adds the counter on the Dispel to a plus, right? So when the caster is a level 2 or higher skill, damage dealt is increased. It gets a little bit of damage on side 3, but it's not that big of a deal. Personally, I wouldn't use him because there are many other options that are bigger, especially for Mineral. Eternity, Black Dwarf. That's it. But yeah, I mean, how do you not have... I mean, I guess if you don't have anyone, right? If you don't have anyone, am I forgetting someone crazy? No. I mean, Pickle, but Pickle is not a main DPS. Pickle is a little bit of a support, right? So yeah, I mean, you can use Horrorpedia if you don't have anyone else. Let's say that. In that case, yes. Otherwise, no. Kanjira is not that worth. It's a little bit of a replace. It's 1.3, but it's a little bit of a replacement for Changeling comp. But she doesn't apply too much poison compared to Changeling. Changeling is just extremely strong. So I wouldn't invest in her too much unless you want to try something out. You have like extra stuff to waste. Then you can use Kanjira. She's not bad. She works. You can clear everything. But is not as powerful as other options. So if you have the other option, you shouldn't do that, right? Matilda, sadly, it's my favorite character. It's one of my favorite characters in the game. I like Matilda, but sadly, she's not that good. She falls off really, really hard. So you can use her a little bit. Do not incite. Just use her on early game when you don't have any units, or maybe you're waiting before you pull. You can use you're waiting for like 1.1 or 1.2 before you use any pulls. Even then, I don't know. Even then, if you pulled on the beginner banner, you probably have better units to use besides Matilda. You don't have to use a 4-star hybrid DPS. I mean, she's a DPS, right? Pure DPS. Now she has a little bit of, yeah, but confusion is critical resist -25. It's not. Who are you gonna pair it with? Maybe you can pair it with Lilia and get a little bit of value out of it, but I wouldn't incite, to be honest. What does she get? What does she get on incite? Let's say 1 at least. When the caster is when she's buffed, she has higher critical rate. Yeah, but there are many other options. I mean, you can if you want. It's sad that she's not that good. I hope that she was. I was hoping she was as good as Sonetto, to be honest. Sonetto is cracked, so yes, invest in her. I'm not even gonna tell you what she does. You know, invest. You can bring her to endgame as well. She's really good. Satsuki is okay. Satsuki, like, the good part about Satsuki is that she can petrify. She applies rigidity on the, because sturdiness is the positive status for us, right? Rigidity on the monster, but you need to apply 2 or 3 times. I believe I don't even want to see the character. 2 or 3 attacks before. That's a debuff card. That's not the ult. Before they get petrified, and then they get petrified, and in the turn after it dispels. So she's supposed to be a DPS. So nah, I wouldn't get Satsuki anywhere. Necrologist is okay. You can do some gimmicks. You can do some niche mechanic strats with her and Door by spamming Moxie, basically, because she applies an undead, like impossible to die, a buff on a character and on herself when you do the ult. So you put it on Door. Door kills himself, but it doesn't kill himself, but you still get the plus Moxie. So yeah, that's it. That's it. But you're still like you're doing some mimic. It's your gimmick. Let's say you want to spam. I think the strat is Lilia, Necrologist, Door. With Lilia, complete Omega buffed, so you have to have a powerful Lilia, I3, everything, like she crits every time. Okay. Necrologist puts on Door. Door kills himself. You get plus Moxie. If it's I1, I believe you get 5 Moxie back. So you do Lilia's ult. You kill Door with the buff on, with the Necrologist buff on. Then you have 0 Moxie because you did the ult. But Door dies, so you get 5 Moxie again. You can just spam the ult another time, right? And then maybe you can wait. If you're lucky, maybe you can do it 2 times. If you're able to get Necrologist back to her ult immediately. I mean, yeah, you can. Maybe you can do it 3 times though. I don't know. You can probably cycle that and spam because the ult, you can redo the ult. The ult makes it so Door doesn't die again, so he kills himself again. He doesn't die, but everybody gets plus 5 Moxie, and so Lydia spams her ult and Necrologist spams her ult. So everybody spams her ult basically. So that could work. I think it works. So I don't know if it's endless. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe if you don't get the card. If you don't get the Door card for the explosion. But yeah. Sonetto, insane. Worth. Sweetheart. I guess you can use her if you want. If you like her. She's not that good. She's okay. I mean, she's good. But there are better units that outclass her. So that's why she's C. But she's really good. I mean, she's not really good. She's okay. She's just DPS. The good part is the days about the ult. Target, reality death and mental death minus 20%. So big debuff for 3 rounds. Days. cannot act. It's not nightmare, it's day, so it's just stunned. Whatever you do, you can harass them while they're dazed. They're not gonna wake up. Just plain damage, one target, mass attack, reality damage to 2 enemies. If the target is debuffed, this attack deals 30%, 45, 75% more reality damage. And then she gets a buff that she deals more damage if the caster is male. She deals more damage. Oh, well, no, it's the opposite. They deal less damage to Sweetheart if they are opposite gender. So yeah, critical rate plus 10%, okay. And when the caster attacks, inflict 1 stack of enchanted on the target for 2 rounds. If the target is the opposite sex, inflicts 1 additional stack of enchanted. Is it the same? It's just a little more stacks, basically. Okay, so yeah, I mean, she's good, but Centurion. If you have Centurion, then you don't need her. And who else? Who's a DPS? Oh, Melania and Centurion. Melania, if you have Melania or Centurion, if you want to use, if you're doing a mono team for some reason, or you want to use a beast DPS because you want to counter an enemy. Let's say there's an elite enemy that is planned. You have Sweetheart, and this is the only one that you have. Then yes. I would build her at least I1, if it's good enough, right? If it's an end game situation, then I don't think you should bring her to I3, to be honest. Unless you know that you're not gonna pull ever for any beast. But what is that? Why am I talking? I'm talking like random shit, right? What is that? No one does that. You eventually want to get every character, right? Or like every coverage. Tenant is good. I like Tenant. I don't care if she's A. She applies shield. That's it. That's the only buff. Let's say the only good part of like providing for the team that she has. Otherwise, she's a DPS. So on I1, she applies 1 more stack automatic 1 more stack of shield when she gives a shield. That's good. And damage take is -20 while the shield is active. And here, immediately casts a bouquet of galaxy and gains 1 stack of diamond bullet. Diamond bullet is after the caster attacks, reality death for the target for 2 rounds. So it's a debuff that you apply, but you need to shoot first. So you need to have the diamond bullet triggered. And the only way to get the diamond bullet outside of I1 is from the ult. You get the ult, diamond bullet, you attack, you apply the debuff, and then you unleash hell. And the I3 is pretty good, because if she starts around and she's below 50, she immediately does the shield plus the diamond bullet. Only triggers 1 time if she's below when a caster starts a round. So what does this mean? If you get healed somehow and then you refall below 50%, it's not going to trigger again. Only triggers once, but it triggers once per round. It should trigger once per round, right? If the caster starts a round with HP below 50%, immediately cast will start again. It only triggers 1 time. I'm confused because it could be both. It could be just you do it once and then that's it. Even if the next round you're 45%, you're still not gonna do it because it only triggers 1 time. That's one approach. The other approach is if the caster starts a round with below HP, you get healed. Let's say you have balloon party, you get healed, and then you get attacked and you fall below 50 again twice in the same round. Then you don't. I mean that's kind of weird though. I think it only triggers 1 time. So in that case, that's dog shit. I mean, it's not worth doing inside 3. You guys don't really know what you need for. I mean, here you can say for inside 3 you need to farm a fuck ton. There's a lot of shit that goes into inside 3. So which character to inside 3? This is not it. This is not one. But she's good early game. She's good end game as well, but I wouldn't inside 3 to be honest. There's other units that you can bring instead. Even though on a mono team, I wouldn't do it to be honest. Because like for a mono team, you're healing with Med Pocket and you're debuffing with Shamane and you're dealing damage with Centurion or Melania. So you're not using Tenant. So if you're using Tenant in a mixed team, then if it's mixed, she's not the one countering the plant necessarily. So you don't even have to use her, right? You can go full down. You can remove a healer, but I don't know. It's fine. It's up to you. She's not bad, but yeah. And then there is Axe. Axe, it's an intellect unit. It's gonna be good. It's gonna do good against Spirit, but I feel like he has a very, very low modifiers. He has very low modifier. He doesn't deal any fucking damage. I don't know. It's supposed to be a DPS, right? Yeah, it's DPS. And dispel stuff, dispels the counter, dispels the... Okay, yeah, but when the caster on the spell stats up at the boss status as well, inflicts silence status on them for 1 round. When the caster spells counter, inflicts silence. I mean, you can inflict silence how you want, but silence only covers physical attacks. When they do like a spell, like a counter or something, not physical attack. When they do attacks, they can't if they're silenced, but if they're trying to do a counter, a buff, or a debuff, then they still do it. So it's not global. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit... Disconcerted cannot gain Moxie. You get an Inside 3 after casting the ultimate. But don't you already do it? No, it's like Moxie -2. I don't know. It feels like it's... I feel like it's kind of weak. It's kind of weak. It's kind of weak. You can use him, but no, I wouldn't invest too much into him. Just bring him in for stage farming, maybe. You can build him for stage farming. But if you're free to play, I wouldn't probably touch him, to be honest. Yeah, so that's it. That's the 5-star coverage for who's worth building. Let's do one more victory lap. Who's worth building? Honestly. Baby Blue, Balloon Party, Beacon Bloom, Charlie, Diggers, Sonetto, maybe Tenant, and maybe Dicke. That's the wrap up. That's the fast version, right? The TLDR. So yeah, that's it. Next time, tomorrow, 6-star. We're gonna talk about them. It's gonna be a little bit different. Yes, there are some characters that maybe you shouldn't invest too much, but we'll go over them. We'll talk about them and see what's up. It's not as black and white as the 4-star, the 3-star, the 2-stars, and 5-stars, but we're gonna try and do that, even though it's gonna be a little more nuanced, a little more balanced, right? So for this video, that's it. Leave a like if you like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. It's always appreciated. On top of that, I'm gonna stream the game. I feel like I'm gonna stream on YouTube on the release date. Probably not on the day of release, maybe the day after. We can maybe play together, have fun, chill together, vibe on the stream. I'm gonna stream on YouTube, so you're not gonna miss it if you sub. I think if you do the bell, you get a notification. So if you don't want to miss it, in case you don't want to miss it, there's a bell there. And yeah, I'm gonna stream on YouTube, and after a little bit of YouTube streaming, I'll switch over to Twitch because I like the platform way more. I'm affiliated there, so you can support me if you want for free if you have Amazon Prime as well. So that's an option. So feel free to do whatever you want, right? See you guys whenever we see each other. Maybe a video, maybe on the live. Video's over. Thank you for watching. See you next time.